We're gonna start.
All right. Well, we'd like to bring this meeting to order at 7:02. Tonight is December 21st, and this is a regular meeting. Tonight for agenda approval, we have approval of minutes from 12/14/17, which is a regular meeting. The minutes for 12/09, we will have to table due to the lack of quorum on that. We'll have warrants, we'll have mail, we'll have administrative assistance report. Joel is here tonight to do the road foreman's monthly board report. Under old business, we have Charles Watson here to discuss copier and work in progress and future computer services. We had on our agenda town administrator discussion. We're going to table that till next week till we have our full board here. We have new business. We have a discussion on ballot articles. We have discussion on lawn mowing contract. And we have discussion from Ralph Mima on Green Lantern solar proposal. Take a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes from 12/14/17.
Motion to approve. You don't want to do the, oh,
No, we can't do the other ones because we don't have a quorum there.
Just, how about a motion to table them for,
Okay, I'll take a motion to table those till next week.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay. And how about the regular meeting minutes from 12/14?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Warrants. We have payroll and we have accounts payable. Accounts payable, we have 28,638. Some of the larger ones there are IRS, Vermont Computer Sales, electricity, and transfer station activities. Payroll is in the amount of $12,637. Take a motion to approve the warrants.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I abstain from the accounts payable one.
Okay. Mail. We have the Bennington County Sheriff's report. This is a daily log that's available for anybody to look at. And we have a letter from Hoosick River Hydro. We respectfully submit this letter to provide an update on the status of the Hoosick River Hydro LLC's option for the Pownal Tannery Hydroelectric Plant on the Hoosick River in Pownal, Vermont. A letter from the Office of Energy Projects dated March 16, 2014, acknowledgement on an option agreement between the Hoosick River Hydro, which is the operator, and the town of Pownal, which is the exemptee, that stipulates, among other things, if and when the option is exercised, Hoosick would become the exemptee. Therefore, within 30 days after the option is exercised, the Commission requests written notification of the exemption transfer. On December 5th of this year, Hoosick River Hydro received hydraulic performance test results, dated November 1st of 2017, the last stage in the commissioning of the plant. As a result, the term for the lease between the Hoosick River Hydro and the town of Pownal has initiated. Hoosick River Hydro LLC is writing this letter to comply with the March 16th of 2014 requirement by notifying FERC, which is the Federal Energy Commission, that the option has been fully exercised. Respectfully, William Scully. We have a letter here that we requested Linda to write last week to Laura Dickinson, thanking her for her dedicated service. And we have a letter from our listers thanking us for the nice gesture during this holiday and wishing everybody a happy holidays and happy new year. And we also have a letter from the State Department of Taxes. I'm not real familiar on this. This is the 2017 equalization study results. This has to do with a common level of appraisal. Just so people understand, any number over 100% indicates that your property in your town is generally listed for more than its fair market value. At this time, ours is 105.9. So if you get up to the 20%, that triggers the state for a reappraisal. And we have basically a trend here that goes back the last 5 years. This year we're 16.48. Last year we were 15.09. 2015 we were 15. 2014 we were 15. 13 we were 13. And 12 we were 9. Our last reappraisal was in 2011. And that's what I have for mail. Administrative assistance report.
Okay, mine's pretty short tonight. Spoke with the Sheriff's Department regarding the parked vehicles on Center Street. Joel Howard visited the resident. The vehicles were actually towed away today. The large gathering ordinance is still under review by Chad Schmidt. The mold assessment is scheduled for Friday morning at 10 a.m. I finalized my work with the attorney on the discontinued roads. The board just needs to approve the hearing minutes and sign the decision notice. Well, Anthony Culvert reimbursement was submitted, however, District 1 had me amend it to reflect the total expenditures for the town on this project. The actual town share was about 43% versus the 10% that we normally would pay. We ended up paying $73,745. This information will be forwarded to Montpelier to show the need for more transportation funding. In addition to my general administration duties, I've been working on budgeting with departments and gathering info from the nonprofit agencies for budgeting. That's it. Any questions?
Do we need to give anybody a date as to when things have to be in? Just a reminder.
Everybody
or
knows
anything?
tomorrow's the
Everybody knows
deadline.
Tomorrow's the deadline.
Tomorrow's the deadline. Jason's got an announcement anyway on some other things.
Okay.
Okay. Road foreman's report?
Do you want to skip over that till last and take care of these guys?
We can, sure. Sure. Jeremiah, we can get you out of the way if you want. This is Jeremiah. He does our landscaping for the town, our contract with lawn mowing.
Some of you might know my 3-year contract is up, and whether we can renew the contract for another 3 years possibly.
Your old contract was 3 years, you said?
No, 3 years.
3.
Two.
2.
Two.
2, okay.
And I'm also gonna ask for a little bit of an increase, and everything's gone up in the last 2 years. I want to make it simple and ask for an increase of $20 per property. Like the pump house that I mow, the rate now is $10 per pump house. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes to a half hour, and that making a whole lot of money out of that. And then cemetery, like the fire pond, the current rate is $35. Take it a good 2.5, 3 hours to do it. So that extra $20 that you $55 for the fire department, not that much more than reasonable. I think, that could be wrong. He's asking for a $3 increase for every line item that I know.
Okay. I think that if there's gonna be an increase, I think we would have to put it out for bid. That would be my thought.
That's right, I think so. But you're welcome to throw a bid in.
Okay,
I'm sure that you probably do well,
Right,
alrighty,
right.
but that would be the proper way to do it, that's all.
okay.
Yeah.
But,
And we're happy with your work so far.
yeah, we're very happy with you, so I mean,
Alrighty.
Right.
we want you to put a
Right.
bid in.
I'll put in the bid in the
Right.
springtime.
So that'll be what, in April, Linda? Okay.
Okay,
All right?
alright, thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Have a good winter.
You too.
That was quick and easy there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Have a good holiday.
You too.
Okay. Let's see. Charles, we can go to you.
Okay.
This is Charles Watson. He does our computer and telephone services.
Okay, I understood that there was some discussion in last week's meeting or something about wanting additional information about copiers, stuff
Yes.
like that. There were some questions. I'll try to answer those for you if you would like.
Okay, we had two quotes from two different companies, and
Yes.
none of us were real familiar with all of the options that were entailed to
Okay.
that. We're hoping you could give us some
Okay, and could I have just the one quote from,
recommendations.
yeah, that one. Thank you. Okay, both quotes are very comparable as far as machines go. Okay, SimQuest, they're located in Burlington. They have a location in Rutland, and they service a lot of stuff in the local area. Rico is out of the Albany area. They do some servicing in the local area. I believe it's more out of their way. They don't have the volume of servicing in this area. As far as quotes go, I had submitted a little breakdown, which I think you had.
Yes.
Basically trying to show you what expected cost would be over the life of the machines, okay? SimQuest has quoted it with a 60-month lease, okay? Rico quoted it with a 48-month lease, and if you look at the proposals, the SimQuest copier over the 5 years cost you less than the Rico copier over the 4 years. So, you know, the SimQuest copier is a better deal, okay? Both of them are capable of doing black and white and color prints. The cost per print you can see is approximately the same. And what I'm showing with the underlined, or the two main figures here, that would be your monthly fee that you'd be paying to SimQuest, plus any additional if you ran over the projected number of prints. We said 2,500 black and white prints and 250 color prints. I don't believe you're going to do 250 color prints. 2,500 black and white prints, maybe if you have a bad month. So those are your costs per month, what it would cost you to get into one of these two contracts. $141 with SimQuest, $141.34, or Rico would be $174.77. Let me just take one quick look here. I believe.
I think we looked at it last week and thought that it would be copier, printer, fax, everything all in
It
one,
is
right?
all in one, yes. And what we'll do is, I know the guys from SimQuest because I worked with them in other
I
locations.
work for them too with the
Yeah,
college, yeah.
they're very good.
Yeah, they are very good.
we'll set up 2 drivers on every computer, okay? We'll set up the default driver to be black and white. That keeps your costs down.
Right.
If somebody wants to print color, they physically then have to go select it so that you don't just go click the print button and everything prints color.
You have to go into the properties and switch it to the color.
Or go in and select the other printer.
Right.
Like you have a default printer, and then the color is a second installation of that printer, but it has a color driver attached
Right.
to it. So, other questions about
I think it's
copier?
got like 4 trays on it too, right? So they could put in the 8.5 by 11 and the 11 by 14
I will-
paper and different things. I think
I will-
the picture showed like 3 or 4 trays.
Well, the picture I think is misleading in that case. I'm not sure of that. I would have to go and look and see what SimQuest quoted exactly on that for trays. Let me see which one it was
Big
here.
deal, but
It was the C308. I think this was a color. I don't find the actual quote. I find
I thought it's what Linda just gave you. No?
these are the quotes
Oh.
here. Okay. That's Rico's. That's Rico. And these are the basic quotes, or these are machine profiles, but it's not the actual quote. I might have it here. I should have it. It's Dell. Haven't found what I'm looking for. I was gonna go over a couple other pieces of it. That is not having any luck finding what I want for it. Because I had summarized it. They did give us a quote for a black and white individual machine, but I don't have that in front of me. I can't. Because we didn't only get that quote from, I believe it was SimQuest.
But we need the color, right, Linda? Because you do things in color.
We've been using the listers.
And this machine will be used by everybody.
Yes. So, cost-wise, it's a lot less expensive to print color on that machine than it is on this one. This one, the cartridges are very expensive compared to that. And the toner comes as part of these.
Yeah, SimQuest, they have a proactive program that they just keep sending you toner.
They look at the number of prints that you're printing, and
Right.
from there they can pretty much tell what they need to send you. Any other questions on the copier?
I don't. So it sounds like the 5-year is the way to go.
Yeah, I make a
Cost-
motion, we go with the SimQuest approval.
Okay.
In the second half.
All in favor?
There's the Rico quote.
Opposed? Okay. So the
Okay.
motion is to go with the SimQuest.
So you'll be able to notify,
Yeah, I'll get a hold of Jason.
is it Jason?
Okay,
And they'll bring it down and set it all up and,
yes, and I'll be here when they bring it down, of course. I'll make arrangements with that so that we can get everything installed on the server and all of that.
Is there anything in particular the board would like to do with the old one?
we own it, right?
Yes.
Normally, can it be sold? I mean, is it?
Does it have any value? What we want to know. They own
I don't think so. SimQuest will dispose of it for you. Basically, they go to a warehouse and they get scrap for junk, same thing you would do out of your e-recycling. So if, you know, you could e-recycle it too if you get the 30 cents a pound or something like that out of it.
I noticed today when I was using it, some black lines are coming on the copies, which kind of indicate that there may be an issue with the drum or
I think that-
servicing. And, so it's your decision, either it goes to our transfer station or you swap it out when the new one comes.
It's on
Just-
wheels?
Need to know.
Is it on wheels?
No,
It's not on wheels.
It's not worth donating to someone.
no.
Okay.
Cost-wise, I think the repairs of it exceed the value that they have. You could go out and buy a refurbished machine for less than what it's gonna cost you to refurbish that one, most likely.
Yeah, that's the issue right now. It needs to be refurbished.
We'll take a recommendation on what to do with it.
Might as well have SimQuest take it,
Okay.
rather than have people come in here and
Okay,
I agree.
very good.
take it over there.
Okay.
Okay, as far as other work going on, the next project that I'm working on is the phone system. I have gotten the additional phone line installed from our last meeting. I have a number for that currently. Let's see, I don't have it written down here, but we'll ultimately decide if we're gonna use that number or move the fax number over to that and then republish the fax number.
Okay.
Through Comcast, we were only able to get a 939 or whatever it is. The local exchange is not 823.
Correct.
Okay, so if we want to keep want to keep an 823 number as the main number coming in, we'll steal the fax number, and then we can notify the people with faxes that we've just set up a new fax number, and that probably will reduce a bunch of the junk fax stuff you get
Okay.
too.
Okay. Plus, I think it keeps, if we keep it an 823 number, eliminates any confusion.
That's what I thought with people calling in. That number will be used into the automated attendant. That automated attendant will have options to go to each individual department, your listers, your administrative assistant, the clerk, etc. If somebody dials their direct number, we're going to have it programmed so that that rings that person's phone. As time goes on and once people get used to calling the automated attendant to go where they want to go, and over time that's going to be, you know, the main published number, I would say. Okay, then we will take and work at then integrating those other phone lines into the incoming group. But right now we'll keep it so it's the same for the local people. They know the number for the lister, they call that number, they're going to be able to get in.
Okay. Okay.
And get to the
In the new
list.
phone system, we have that allows for that option later on
Yes,
online?
oh yeah, it's completely programmable, you
Okay.
can do about anything with it.
Okay, terrific.
Chuck, I have one other question on the printer, scanner, fax. Usually they send somebody down to train everybody in the office because it'll have a scanning thing and you're able to put in your email address and everything to scan to
Yeah,
yourself.
and we'll set all that
So
up. but
SimQuest, I think, will send
They
somebody,
will,
correct?
they will do that, and we will make sure that they set up the training for the office personnel.
Okay.
And if you need and want, we can make sure that other people get notified too that need to be here to learn about it.
Okay, good.
You know, we'll bring in, you know, the people from
Joel and...
Joel and Tom, or,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Tom
Okay,
and
Good.
stuff, so they get trained too.
okay.
And if any of you people want to get trained, we'll know when it's going to be.
Okay.
Anything else?
Good.
What's the total cost, do you think, for the phone system?
I don't know, I think didn't we put a budget together on that?
I thought we did.
Yeah,
Thought
we
had
put a
it
whole
and
budget
everything.
that included installation and stuff, I think. I'd have to go back and find it, I can do
You
so.
and I don't remember what it was gonna cost.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's see.
We must have had a cost because we approved it.
Oh, yeah, I did give you a total cost. I just will have to go through my folder and find it. If you want, I can take a minute and do that.
Well, you can, I'll see you tomorrow or sometime.
Okay.
We just we just gotta keep in mind, you know, what we're spending as we're budgeting, because we haven't spent it yet.
We already agreed to spend it. We'd like to know how much we spent.
Yeah, how much?
But we do have to put it into our budget figures.
Yes,
Well,
you
yeah,
do.
Yeah, you have to take it under consideration. Your budget right now reflects up to period 6, which would be December, so it's not included in it, and I don't remember what it was.
I'll take a minute and I'll find that for you.
Be fine.
Okay, anything else?
No, I'm all set.
I'm good with it.
Okay, I'll
Thank
step
you.
away, let someone else,
Thank you.
and I'll
Okay.
Thank
take a
you.
minute. to
Thank
find
you.
it.
Did you want to go over, you're also going to talk about our future needs, because we're budgeting, Chuck? That was the other paper that I gave you back.
What was that?
You're also going to talk about our replacement scheduling, what we were going to budget for IT services.
Oh, okay,
I think you slipped my copy into your paperwork.
okay. Here, take it. Where is it? I could have
I
done,
believe it's right there. There's my handwriting all over it, right on top. I think that's
This
mine.
one?
Yeah, your handwriting.
Okay.
That's my handwriting.
okay,
You remember there was a couple of questions you needed to get back to us for budgeting purposes.
okay. Yeah, the antivirus renews in 3 of 29/19. So, we have to put that in this budget. I've got quotes, they just came in late today.
Okay.
I'll get those to you tomorrow,
Okay.
okay? On, what the antivirus is gonna cost and stuff, so we can budget that.
Okay, so that's for the Viper.
And I gotta get you an hours on estimated IT service, so. Those are the two things I haven't gotten completed yet.
And everybody's all set with their computers now too, right?
Everybody's got their the 3 new computers are installed, the server's installed, yes. And
Good.
all the other computers have been moved to the domain. I've reset up the accounts for the domain, all of that. Finalizing a few little things here and there.
Okay, I guess another question would be, we have a lot of electronics laying around, what are we doing?
And I will be going through it and we'll be getting some of it ready to
Okay, he also is going to take a couple of parts off of the old printer to just have them on hand in case we need to do something down the line with the one we just got.
And
And the
then,
rest of it's gonna go over to the transfer station.
that's yours.
He basically wants you to know that we're going to be, two workstations are gonna get a new computer. Town clerk and Lister,
Yes, and then,
and a laptop for the transfer station.
those are the ones
So-
on the schedule for 2019.
Yeah.
28.
So we have a figure.
2018,
2018.
2018, 2019
Yep.
budget, you know?
Okay, so,
Okay, so, let me see, online backup cost? Was another figure that we're missing.
Okay,
You have 13 clients, online
Yeah.
backup?
I can, that I'm
Okay,
working on too.
okay.
And you need all that for tomorrow, basically.
Tomorrow would be good. Tuesday would be fine. We're gonna be budgeting all next week, but I just wanna remind you that we can't really finish budgeting and working
No.
without, we've got some missing things, okay?
That's
I'm
fine.
fine. So anyway, basically, he's telling us that we're gonna need at least 9,000 for, right now, for budgeting. Just a little bit of missing figures.
Okay.
That's it.
The quote for the antivirus, they quote 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. I'll pass along all 3 quotes. The last time I think we purchased 3 years. And there is a fair amount of savings by purchasing multiple years. So,
It seems we seem to do well with it. I don't see why, we shouldn't take a look at the
the one thing
5-year.
about it notifies me, and all of a sudden they'll get a phone call from me, and it says, and I'll ask, what are they doing?
What are you
or-
doing? Right.
I just got notified that something got cleaned from your computer. So,
And somebody's email got hacked at one point.
Yeah,
here
that-
a few months ago, right?
that was Julie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that had nothing to do with our antivirus.
No, she clicked on an email. That's total different story.
Ah, okay.
When you click on something, you give it permission to run. That's why they say if you don't know the person
Right.
and you don't know the email, don't open it. A lot of that's with everyone sees the fraud emails, from UPS or from the Postal Service or from FedEx or whatever, and your package didn't get delivered or this, that. Don't click on the email. Go log into your FedEx account, put in the tracking number, and check it that way.
Right.
You're safe.
Right. It's so easy to click on the wrong thing and end up with a virus.
Or end up with a crypto virus or something like that where they hold you ransom.
And especially when you're checking your email quickly, you're moving along, it really is easy to do.
And some of those things, when you click on them, you can't prevent them.
Right.
Your antivirus or other programs can't respond quick enough. Okay, I'll get the rest of those numbers to you.
Okay.
Okay,
There goes
here
somebody.
you come. Right on time.
Okay, we can do Ralph and then we
Coming
can say
this way.
your friend.
Santa
Okay.
Claus coming to business.
This is Ralph Mima,
Santa
and he is
Claus.
with Green Lantern Solar Proposal.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to see you all again. So my name is Ralph Mima with Green Lantern. I'll say just a couple quick things about our firm and also connect it to things that we've already done in Pownal over the past couple of years, and then that'll bring me to a proposal that I would like you to consider. So we're based in Waterbury, and we've done projects all over the state at this point. We're a solar developer. We find the land, we design the projects, we build them, get the permits, and are involved in the long-term operation of them as well. At this point, we've done over 60 projects statewide in about 50 towns. And the total capacity, if you put them all together, is about 27 megawatts of power. And to put that into perspective, one of the projects that we did around here, in fact, the one project we've done so far in Pownal is the Dean View Road 500 kilowatt project up in North Pownal. That's a 500 kW project. So we've done 27 megawatts, which would be the equivalent of more than more than 50 like the one that you can drive by and look at up on Dean View Road. We were founded in 2010, and all of the projects we've done so far are in Vermont. We have looked at other states, but just never crossed the border up until now because there's been plenty to do in Vermont. I live in Brattleboro and cover the southern counties, but my colleagues are spread all around the state. We're based in Waterbury because that's where our CEO lives. That's where we were founded. Our CFO lives in South Burlington. We have a couple of construction folks who live in Waitsfield and Warren and so forth. So that's us in a nutshell. We looked at a variety of possible projects around here starting back in 2014 and managed to meet the folks who owned the property at Dean View Road. And so that became the project that we focused on, and it was just recently commissioned, just a couple of months ago. But when we were getting started with that, there were some other project possibilities around here, and so I was actually at this table almost exactly 2 years ago when you were entertaining proposals to put some kind of project up near the wastewater treatment plant just north of Furlong Road in North Pownal. We bid on that. Another company was awarded the opportunity to move forward with that project. Then I just got sort of swept away by other projects and was really not focused on other possibilities here until this past summer, fall. I began to wonder, I wonder whatever happened with the wastewater treatment plant project. The other projects around here that were being considered back then were the two capped, one capped and one not capped, but the two landfills next to the transfer station. At the time, I looked at those, but we didn't submit any proposals because, you know, I was thinking of everything in 500 kilowatt project increments because that was sort of a big opportunity back then. To do those successfully, you need proximity to three-phase power, and three-phase power was not up by the transfer station on Maple Grove Road. So I just kind of veered away from that and never looked at it again until recently. What we would like to do, and so anyway, I got back in touch with Nelson just to basically find out what had ever happened, and talked to Barb. What is her last name again?
Schlesinger.
Schlesinger, right? It sits right over there.
If you don't mind me just cutting you off for 1 second, we don't have a full board tonight,
Okay.
so we won't make any decisions tonight. The other issue is I'm a fireman and we have an emergency, so
Oh,
I've
gosh.
got to leave.
Okay.
All right.
So sorry to cut you off.
All right.
But we got it serious. So,
All right.
Okay.
I'll be in touch.
You guys
Well,
gotta
thank
you.
elect yourself an acting
If
chair.
Your chair.
Ronnie's
Your
been
chair.
chair
So you
before.
can take over. Thanks.
You said you can take over, so go ahead.
Yeah, you're
All right.
next in
Well,
command.
we can listen. We can finish listening to him, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Continue your,
I'll make it quick because. So what it all boils down to is I did reach out and get in contact with Nelson Brownell again just to find out what had happened, and he said make us a proposal. And so I don't know what the terms of your agreement are with the other developer for the wastewater treatment plant, but according to Nelson and also to Linda, there is currently no other proposal on the table for the two fields next to the transfer station. So I sent a letter, which is just sort of a general proposal to do something. But I actually have, I didn't bring them with me, but I can send them. I have 3 draft lease option agreements for each of those 3 locations to enter into an agreement with the town to at least, and it's entirely on our nickel, do the feasibility study work initially and look at the possibility of putting a 150 kilowatt array on each of those 3 locations. They're all preferred sites. 2 are landfills and 1's a Superfund site and a landfill. And so they, they're preferred sites. They're the sort of things that the state legislation is now encouraging for solar. And we'd be very interested in doing 1, 2, or all 3 of them, or some combination of these projects on town land. And,
Could I ask one question?
Sure.
On the treatment plant, 500 was proposed for there, so you're gonna propose 150?
Mhm.
Is there a possibility to have 2 150s?
Well, let me say this. At the time, back 2 years ago when you were receiving proposals, I went up there with one of our environmental consultants and we looked at the area. We looked at the cap, we looked at the floodway along the Hoosick River, and we looked at other land in front of the wastewater treatment plant and so forth. And we would be open to other possibilities, but we concluded that you could only fit a 150 up on top, even a 120, a smallish array up on top of the cap, and that the surrounding land would not be really workable for a larger array, partly because a lot of it's in the floodway. And we just didn't think that anything larger than a 150 could get permitted there. If it could be, and we'll look at every conceivable angle, then we would do that, because 3-phase power is right there. So
What would you do about the transfer station and the 3-phase?
the transfer station, there are a couple of different things. It's too far from 3-phase for.
I'm messing with it.
I mean, my guess is that the cost to bring 3-phase power up to the transfer station would probably be somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000, just based on our experience with similar projects and distances. And a 500 kW project at the current incentives level just wouldn't be able to bear that cost. So the question would be, could the local circuit accept 2 150s side by side? Because you can build up to a 150 without needing to interconnect with the 3-phase power line.
Okay, that's what I wanted to understand.
But what we would have to do is submit what's called a 5.500 application to Green Mountain Power. It's an interconnection application. We'd have to do a certain amount of design work, submit the application, and then see what they came back to us with. in terms of what they thought was feasible up there. One scenario is that they say we'll bring three-phase power up a lot cheaper than it typically is. Who knows? I mean, they may have other reasons to want to bring three-phase up there. Another scenario is that they say we'll connect two 150s to the single phase line because it's got capacity. And that would be two separate power poles, two transformers, two separate interconnections, but on the same stretch of road. Another scenario is they say that circuit can't accommodate two 150s, you can only put one 150 in there. And the fourth scenario, which is starting to get out more toward the speculative end of things at the moment, is they might say, well, you can put two 150s there, but we'll only allow you to release the equivalent of one 150 into the grid. But if you include a battery, which is very cutting edge at the moment, we're only just getting into this. If you include a battery installation, then basically you can have two 150s feeding into the battery, and then the battery delivering a lot more energy than a single 150 could deliver into the grid, but never getting above 150. So that's 150 is power. The battery would store energy during the day and then release it at night when the sun's not shining. So there are a number of different scenarios, but we would research all of them.
I know you had a proposal 2 years ago before I was on the board, and I read where the proposal, I guess, Linda, you were saying that was for a 500, and the income to the town then would have been around $9,000. Am I correct on that?
For a 500, yes.
Right.
Yep.
And then if we were to go with this new proposal, it would bring the town $3,000.
A little bit more. Our rule of thumb, and this is all very transparent because the value of net metering credits is mandated by the state. It's in the regulation, and so we would in the lease option agreements that I drew up, which I can send to you right away, we're proposing for the first 10 years $3,800 a year for each one of these three or up to three installations, so that the total would be 11,000 something for all three of them. And to put that into perspective, a 150 kilowatt array in its first year generates value equivalent to about $50,000, and that's the total value that the value of the egg that the golden goose lays in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to figure you're paying insurance, taxes, the lease for the land, and then the amortization of the capital investment that you've installed, and then you're paying interest on the debt, and you're paying some sort of return to the equity investors, and that all has to fit within $45,000 to $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
So just a little bit less than a tenth of that can go to the lease of the land itself.
Mm-hmm. I know we're not going to make a decision tonight, and I'm just going to be bold enough to give you my opinion, and then I'm going to let our other board members tell you what they think. But I'm not a fan of solar. I never have been. I think we already have too many solar fields in Pownal. I think they're ugly, they're terrible to look at, and I don't think $3,000 is enough money for the town to have to look at them for the next 10 years. So I'm just not a fan.
I don't know where you're coming from, but that solar field down at the racetrack, that's in the floodplain.
Yeah, I don't think it
So,
would.
I don't know what different companies don't want to get farther away from the river or what have you. I don't know.
I'm not sure that would get permitted
I'm not-
today.
Let's see, that's it. And the same thing, I was under the impression, I'm on the planning board, that these things were only supposed to go on bad lands, like you said.
Mhm.
Former dumps,
Mhm.
landfills, whatever you want to call it, and empty gravel beds,
Mhm.
things like that.
Mhm.
Well, that one up on North Pownal Road there, that was never a gravel bed.
Well,
The way you got up there, that was never no gravel bed.
It
The Dean
actually
Road
was.
one?
It was Dean Road was a sand pit.
See, that was put in that even is hardly existent. That's up past your field. Your field's right there by that wetland. I'm amazed that they were allowed. Of course, the state. I'm never amazed by them anymore. But if I was trying to do something next to a wetland, because they were talking about all the different species of insects and snails and whatever is in a wetland, that would had to go through all that. Wow, all I'm saying is, because I don't care one way or the other. I don't like the looks of them, but that's beside the point. I don't think it's a feasible way because it's like nuclear, as far as I'm concerned. What happens in 25 years or whatever when these panels ain't producing anymore? They got all these heavy metals in there and everything else. Who takes care of that? That's questions that were asked before when they wanted to put a small solar. Maybe you were involved with that one down in South Pownal, where the well is.
We made a proposal. Yep.
Yeah. See, and I know some concerned citizens were. They brought up points like that, what happens with this? Here you are, you're near a water supply, and you've got things that could be harmful for the environment, which I don't know if they are or not. And now we got, the state is looking uglier and uglier with all that three-phase poles, 40 feet up in the air. They just ran down from that. There isn't anything more ugly than that one before you get to where just as you start into Bennington, just past the motel, the one on the hill, and the other one is in a field. That was a producing field. I know that for a fact. You can't say that was no sand pit or anything. I don't know who put that in.
That's one of our
Sheriff's Department, I
competitors.
think, right?
But see, these kind of things are. That's why I don't know whether. I guess it's a thing of the future, but it's not. I understand that. What they're trying to do now is they want everybody to go all totally electric cars and everything. You're going to have plug-ins. You know what that's for? To store the energy. They're going to use your car battery. When the load goes down, they'll suck the energy out of your car battery. You're just talking about batteries and stuff. See, these kind of things are a mystery to me. I'm just a layman. But I do know a little bit about electricity, and that to look at that. I mean, like the hydro thing, that was fine. We had a dam. It was already there in the river. It ain't like we dammed up a river. It was already there. And we put it back online. And it's steady. Solar, the sun goes behind a cloud, it drops down. It's not consistent load good. I put some solar down at my camp, a few panels, just to light up the lights. And I mean, come on, I got batteries. Of course, I'm doing it with an inverter, and that's a waste, I guess. But I don't understand that stuff. But it does light a few LED cheap light bulbs, with 7 watts or whatever, or 8 watts or 9 watts. It does do that. But I like I say, I'm just throwing things out. I don't know nothing about this stuff, really, to tell you the truth. But I do want it on lands that are no good. I do want it on that. Like if we are going to put something down to the, where the sewer plant is, that's as far as I'm concerned, that land is. Well, it's already been deemed of no value, but how are you going to fasten it down? It has a cover on it. You can't sink anything in the ground down there.
Nope, you use concrete ballast blocks.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. These things have to be looked at. I know people put them on a roof down there in Troy. Well, they got sandbags holding them down, I guess. They got bags of something. It's a kind of a flat roof. And it's a structure, and they got all these bags on it. To me, that's kind of ridiculous. But they didn't want any holes in the roof.
Yep.
See?
Well, you don't want to puncture the cap if it's a landfill, especially if it's a Superfund site.
Oh, no, that's right. There's millions of dollars that the federal government spent there. You know what I mean?
Well, you raised a lot of different questions, and
I know I
have answers for all of them, and I'd be happy to spend whatever time you need to go over them. But
well, my opinion
one thing
is
I want to emphasize
if
is that
you want to submit your plan to tell us, which I'm all for that. I don't know about the rest of the board. I'm all for that if you want to submit your plan and tell us what it will produce and exactly where it's going. But hypotheticals like maybe running three phase out there, to the transfer station. I mean, they got 3 phase right over here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how far that is because that's where the substation is, right here.
Yep.
And they got 3 phase coming down 7 now. So that ain't very far from the, but it's a little ways.
It's a windy road up there.
And it costs money, huh?
Oh yeah, it's far enough up that it would cost some money to extend
I
it.
realize that.
Yep.
You know, I see it in my electric bill every month.
Mhm.
Like that keeps going up, and solar's so great, my electric bill goes up. But I mean, I'm open to, I don't know about the other two that are here. We don't have a full board. So
Yeah.
I just figured I'd blitz you a little bit so you know that what, you know, what people, and I ain't the only one.
Oh, I know.
If
I talk to a lot of
make
folks.
A proposal,
Sure.
people will be coming in here and they'll be raising the same questions that I'm raising.
Yep.
See, and I really don't care one way or the other because I'm an old guy and I probably ain't gonna be around that long to test it all. But that's not here nor there. But if you, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to get your proposal up for them are 3 waste sites,
Mhm.
and if you had something, then we could maybe, I don't know, maybe the board could hash it around, or the best thing as far as I'm concerned anyway is to let the town know what's going on. And that's what we're supposed to do.
Sure.
And if the
Got an
town wants
opinion,
it,
Bruce?
I don't care.
I'd like to see us make use of that.
I would too.
I mean, it's
it
just
is
sitting
wasteland.
there. I don't know that much about solar, but I'd like to, we can bring a little revenue some way to the town. I think we'd be better off than just letting it sit there.
You know, that's
The regulation that governs net metering changed as of January 1st. In fact, it wasn't signed into law until July, but it was retroactive to this past January. And one of the things that's happened is that it's pretty much impossible now, economically and also permitting-wise, to put solar arrays on the kind of, like the pumpkin field across from the sheriff's department, for example, or even where we built one up off of Deanview Road. You could not get approval for those anymore. Everything is being steered very much toward landfills, gravel pits, Superfund sites, rooftops,
right.
brownfields, that type of thing, and which is what we've been completely focused on for about the last
I mean,
year and a half.
that's a good thing because you're using up property and there won't be anything else put on that property because
Right.
the solar field's there.
Exactly. Yep. There's nothing else you can do with it.
So,
Yeah. You can't build. You can't grow anything.
right.
So, and we're very busy, particularly with this type of thing. We're doing. In fact, today we submitted the permit application for a 150 on the landfill in Newfane. We have an agreement with Wilmington next to their transfer station and landfill, and we have an agreement with Dover on their landfill. So this is very much our focus these days, and whatever we would do here would benefit from the experience we're getting with other similar projects that are a little bit ahead.
But the smaller size fields is what the state wants, the government wants,
Oh, yeah.
people want.
Green Mountain Power tends to want the smaller ones as well.
All right, that's, because I mean, they didn't talk about a 500 down there, and of course, I can understand your point. Some of these places are not feasible. I mean, that's a mountain.
I didn't think it was then, and I still don't. And we lost that bid because we weren't aiming as high, but
Right.
I think that's the limit there.
Do you have any concern with saturation to the grid down there?
I'm a little curious. There's GMP has a statewide solar map that you can look at online, and the circuits are all coded either green for go ahead, yellow for possible congestion, and red for circuits that are just not going to accept any more distributed generation. And Mapleview Road and I think Furlong Road were coded yellow, which means that you could put smaller arrays in there.
Smaller.
But we wouldn't know until we applied and we got them to analyze it. And we wouldn't do that until we had some kind of agreement. But I'm curious.
What about your investors? Are you single investor or a multi?
Well, these smaller 150s could go one of two different ways. One would be that they'd have a single investor and a single off-taker, like an elementary school or something like that. But more and more towns are interested in community solar, where there might still be a slice of the array that a municipal or nonprofit off-taker is accounting for, but where most of the array, maybe 2/3 to 3/4 of it, would actually be sold off to homeowners and to businesses in blocks of panels. We just finished filling out a project that we're just about to start building in Guilford, where this is the case. So we would look at both. We'd look at community solar, we'd look at the more...
Your company, do they hire Americans, local people,
Oh, yes.
things like that?
Yep.
Because, I mean, that was what was said down here in that one at the track, that big one.
Oh, yeah, the big
They
one,
were
yeah.
gonna do this, they were gonna do that. They didn't hire anybody from around here. They hired people out of Albany. And then they couldn't, I guess they didn't want, they wanted more money than what they wanted to pay them, so they found some people from somewhere else. And then they sold it to another company.
Right.
Must have some outfit in Spain or something. Is that how
Been
how
sold
your
a couple
outfit
times, I
operates?
believe.
Just
No.
out of curiosity.
No, I mean, let me say this. Our owners exclusively live in Vermont and always have. And all of the employees of the firm live in Vermont. All of the contractors we use are Vermont-based, although some of them are up north because that's where we started.
I'm sure.
So, you know, for example, the environmental consulting firm we use is Arrowwood out of Huntington. The electrical contracting firm that we work with is E&S Electric out of Colchester. When it gets to site work, logging and grading and so forth, we've spread out a little bit more. We've worked with Longview Logging out of Westminster, MT3 out of Green River in Guilford. So that tends to become a little bit more local, you know, and we're always open to local contractors. Our financing, you know, some of it comes from in-state, like some private investors or Vita or Mascoma Bank. Some of it comes from out of state. We work a lot with a company called Kendall in Cambridge, Mass. that specializes in solar investment. But you know, if I look around at our competitors, you know, we're like a fully Vermont company, and probably more so than just about anybody else.
There was something else I was gonna ask you too on that, but I can't think of it now. I'm starting to lose my head.
Well, why don't you do up a proposal, because we don't have a full board.
Sure.
And we can talk
Yeah,
to
and
the
I-
other members of the board and see where we go from there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you'd probably get a majority of the board that would want to see something on that, but that's just surmising, which doesn't do anything.
Well, I appreciate your time, and
But
I will
anyway,
do
if,
that.
you know, on these wastelands, I'm sure that, like I say, I'm on the planning board, and I've had people come in and scream about these other things. Oh, that other question came to mind. That, when I was yakking. If, you know, like the dam project down there, you
Yes.
know, that was put in, the hydro thing. Now, that belongs to the town of Pownal. We leased it out to this other outfit.
You own the dam? Or the
Yes,
tannery?
Yes,
Yeah.
we own it, see. And it's just like, well, we own that landfill down there.
Mhm.
All I was wondering was this: is there any possibility in this just, like I said, I'm just inquisitive. Would if a town say they were interested, you know, you guys wanted to sell it, could a town buy it or something? You
Yeah.
know, or-
We
just-
could look at that. Sometimes if you are the landowner and you're also a significant off-taker, you can buy the project, and it makes sense after the project's fully depreciated, and there's a fair market value that's a lot less than it originally was.
Well, sure, you got to put new
Um,
panels or something on it, or
Well,
whatever.
they're going to be good for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
But that's a possibility. But it gets more complicated if the landowner wants to buy the project, but a lot of the project's already owned by somebody else, or multiple people if it's community solar. Buying them out, you know, one at a time gets more
Yeah.
complicated. But you know, we could.
Well, see, I
look at
was
that.
just curious about that. I mean, that's, I'm sure this town wouldn't be buying it. We ain't got any money.
But I think the town is all set as far as net metering goes, because that
See,
project.
they've done away with that, right?
No. I mean, I think that the tannery hydroelectric plant
Yeah, that's what he's talking
is
about.
is providing the net metering credits for the municipal meters, right?
That's right.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have 8 accounts.
Yeah,
So I think that you're all set. Your appetite is fully satisfied for net metering credits.
yeah. But I mean, like, of course, like I say, this year is, you're talking community projects and all that, but like private projects that people have had, they've, you know, did a roof on a barn or something, and when net metering was around, They offered that, but they tell me now you can't get that.
Oh, no, it is around. It's
You could still
absolutely still there.
Put all that money in the bank when the sun shines in the summer,
Sure.
and then use it up in the winter.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just curious about that.
Yeah, there's just that the regulations have gone through a number of different revisions, but they're still there, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right. Okay, that's enough for me.
sure. Well, thank you for your time, and
We
I.
still have a
appreciate
lot
it.
more electric accounts.
Oh, you do?
Yes, we do.
I thought you were all completely
No,
set.
no, I only have 8 accounts that
Okay.
are in the net metering.
Okay, well, I'd be curious.
One completely satisfies the needs of the treatment facility.
Okay.
A couple of large pump stations, the highway department, this office,
Hmm.
a couple other smaller ones.
Do you know how many other accounts
I
are?
had 23 total.
Oh, really? I probably have that information somewhere from
Mhm.
a couple of years ago. Well, we could look at that. I mean, it might be that you have enough additional appetite for net metering credits that one of the projects.
I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility that
Yeah.
we could use more
Sure.
net metering.
Okay, well, I'd like to find out about that. Yep.
See, we were intending on taking more, but the hospital took the
Yes.
dam.
Yeah, I heard about
They'd
that.
have taken the whole thing if they could have.
Mm-hmm, Oh, hospitals use an enormous
Oh,
amounts of
absolutely. I
electricity.
know they do.
Yep, they do.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, that's how that worked out.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I just wanted to make you aware that we're not.
well, thank you for letting me know, because I didn't realize that. I read one article in the banner,
no,
I
we
guess,
have,
and,
we have more accounts.
okay, good. Well, we can look into that. and
Okay.
Put those numbers together.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, well, thank you for your
Thank you
time.
very
Thanks so
much.
much, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Well, I see I couldn't get you mad.
You tried though, didn't you?
You tried.
Well, I was the guy who was invited by the fire district to propose an array for the pump station, the wellhead area on 346.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down in South
So,
Pownal, yeah.
so I experienced that entire thing, and
Yeah.
nothing gets me mad anymore.
I went to the meeting down there, and they put you on the griddle down there. I remember that.
Yep. Learning on the job. Anyway, thank you
When
very
I
much.
ran for this office, everybody came to me when I was running and said, "You're not for solar, are you? Because we don't want any part of it." So
Well, I mean, you have to respect what the the district
You have to-
residents voted
you
for.
have to listen to your constituents too.
That's
Yes.
right. Yep. So, anyway, thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Linda, I guess we're down to Joel, right? Am I missing something?
No, I'm all set.
Chuck's all set.
Chuck's
Crying
all
out
set.
loud, he took good care of us.
Linda, the nonprofit ballot
We left it in
article.
your hands,
Did
Chuck.
he already?
That's an
I'll see you,
announcement.
I'll talk to
You
you
can
tomorrow.
announce that when they're due.
Okay. Want me to do that before we talk to Joel or after?
Yep, might as well.
Okay, the non-profit ballot articles are due by 5 p.m. on January 18th.
Okay, I also want to announce the elected officials due January 29th at 5 p.m. Petitions
Petitions are due.
due.
When's the first date you can take out a petition?
That's a town clerk question.
All right, I thought this was too. All right,
Probably
January
any
29th at
time.
5 p.m.
Yeah, I would say probably any time because it's getting so close to January.
Well, as we get closer, well, it'll be announced who's up for re-election and all that anyway.
Mhm.
We've got our town clerk and 3 select board members and listers and... Okay. Joel?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for the gesture. It was very nice for
Was
Christmas.
it well received?
Well received.
Good.
Appreciated it. I guess as far as work goes, doing a lot of sanding, salting, running around on that kind of stuff, and I guess it looks like we're gonna be doing it for a few days more. We did put in a culvert just got it in before the bad weather started. Oh, we got a few manhole covers sticking up. We gotta try to figure out what to do with them. Pretty much other than that, budget work. I don't know if you wanna, did we wanna talk about that or?
You want to go into executive session for budget work, Linda, or no?
No.
No, okay.
But I think we ought to have the whole board for that.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
As far as your budget
'Cause he's
work
getting nothing out of
goes,
me.
Well, we're talking about doing a meeting next week on the 28th. Should we do it then?
what Joel has provided he's worked on as much as he had time to work on, and I worked on a little bit of what I could. And Ellen has a section here where she will work on. Primarily what I wanted Joel to go over with the board tonight would be what he had in mind for his large projects, where he thought maybe he was gonna lay some pavement, what we were gonna apply for grants for, to just give you an overall direction of, what future plans would be.
Should we wait for a full board on that, Ronnie? What do you think?
Well, we're not gonna spend a whole bunch of time on it.
No.
Tell us something.
Okay, you got 3 minutes. No.
Sure, start now.
That's enough.
That's enough, he says.
Okay, of course, the Snake Hill grant we put in for, that'll be a substantial amount, but there'll also be, our match will be a pretty good amount.
If we get it right.
If we get it, yeah. Also, we're gonna put in for, a bunch of paving on South Stream, which will be, another match. This is work we're not doing in kind, or, the match, so it's monetary. Skippery culvert, that'll be kind of a wash type of thing. I got a grant out for some stone-lined ditches on West Carpenter, which will be pretty much like the Man Hill South project.
Where was the stone line ditches? Northwest, you said? Did you
No,
say?
West Carpenter Hill
Oh,
Road.
West Carpenter Hill.
Carpenter Hill West, yeah. We have 2 grants out for that, 20,000 apiece.
Oh, do we have matches on those?
Yes, 20%. I'm gonna put in again for the Mount Anthony Road, the second culvert. We also have one on South Stream Road down by County Road that needs addressing. That's going to be another pretty expensive. I had the A&R fella down to look at it, and he's not going to let us put in a small culvert. So that one's kind of.
Joel, how many miles on South Stream were we gonna?
I'm going to put in for 2
We're gonna
miles.
put in for 2 miles.
Basically, if you want to talk blacktop, we got Burrington Road for around 45,000. Center Street over this way, if you wanted to do an overlay, is getting pretty rough. Dean Road that needs shimming and doing something with. I was actually thinking on getting a price on reclaiming that, grind it up, and then grade it all back out and stuff again, and when we get it to where we want it, blacktop it.
Which road was that again?
Dean.
Dean?
But we also could just put a shim, because the ends, you've been up there, the ends all coming, falling right off. It's running up pretty bad. Just to shim it and blacktop it around 22 grand. Hidden Valley's another spot. Eventually we're gonna have to do something. We probably won't this year. Mason Hill South, that's another one. It's getting pretty bad, that should be. Snake Hill. That, if we do the project, we'll do that after on the project. Maple Grove Road, that's another thing that's kinda built through a swamp, and that's getting, really ruddy. That's, class 2 though,
That
that's
is, we get
something
some funds for
we
that.
can do that.
Yeah, the last fellow that, when we backed up, they said that would last 20 years. They did such a good job with the fabric and all that kind of stuff. Ain't been no 20 years.
How long's
I
it
don't
been?
know, I don't know how long it's been really.
Well, I
And
was
it's-
sitting here
it's-
listening to that stuff.
It's,
see.
well,
That's
yeah,
all.
it's just, it's a problem. I mean, it's
Oh, sure it is.
built
In a
right
swamp.
through a swamp, yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Where are we? South Stream Road. I was going to do, we do about 2 miles, we're looking at around 190 I was gonna put in for a grant for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that road needs to be addressed. It absolutely needs to be addressed. But, well, I'm just looking at
So
your
we'll put in for the
blacktop and fun
two
here
class
and
twos.
stuff, you know?
Yeah, I know, we do have to talk about that.
We're gonna have to work on that in the budget and see, we're gonna have to pick out the worst spots.
We,
or
I know,
whatever, you know.
I'd say these were
I'd like to be Santa
suggestions,
Claus and say, hey, let's do them all, but we'll all be in the poorhouse.
you know, so,
He's showing you your need, and it's
All right.
looking
That's
pretty
what-
scary over
that's
the
what you
next
do.
10
You
years.
show you.
Okay.
Valley View, we talked about blacktopping that for a while, and I kinda figured out, you know, if you wanted to do that, we're looking at 40,000. No, we got, you know, you gotta pick something out.
Yes, that's right. That's what I'm saying.
But-
That's the absolute.
We do have to kinda wait, the year before, you know, if you go, you look at my budget here, I put in the same in the blacktopping fund as we did the year before, is 150, so if you do that, you got about 204 with, you know, the funds carried over.
Yeah.
But you gotta realize, when you did put that budget together, you had 143,000 we carried over from that year. That was the year I started, and there was a big lag, nothing really, there wasn't nothing going on that year, yeah. So we had a big, this year, we're not gonna have enough funds, you know, to really, we are still, we have money left over. But
But see, you talked about culverts. Now, you know, why did it cost us $70,000 on that other one? Just out of curiosity.
because he put in for 95,000. And maybe he had different ideas. I will tell you, from the time he did it, the A&R upsized it when I went to do it. He did it off the state hydraulic report, and the A&R wouldn't go along with it.
Yeah,
So,
that's-
you know,
see, I
this,
just wonder, some
because
kind of an explanation there, because, I mean, 70,000, that's quite a load to
You-
go,
you-
we had to pay.
yeah, I know.
You
you-
know, I mean, we got a grant for that, so I'm sure that we got some.
95, yeah.
95, so then,
Um,
because the other one further down, the grant paid most of that, the one on North Pownal Road.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he
We
put in
didn't
for
have a
that.
total, big, huge amount of money there,
Yeah.
you know?
That's why we went with the aluminum versus the concrete. It was cheaper. Plus, it's all changing with the, you know, water quality and stuff. These guys are really, no more just popping small culverts in and,
That's why V-Trans asks for actual costs, because we need to show Montpelier that
We
with this
need-
general
Need more
permit,
funds.
municipal general roads
Absolutely.
permit,
I mean,
we
it's-
need more funds in the transportation funds, because they're requiring the towns to do the extra work that before, like Joel said, we might have been able to get away with a smaller culvert, and now they're getting very extensive.
Yeah. Because what they designed for that was too small. They wouldn't let us do it.
Well, see,
In
the
the
only
end.
reason I asked you that question, see, so then you could explain it, so the people out there could say, what the
Yeah,
heck
no, I know.
happened here?
I know.
What's all this-
Why is
did
there
we
an
spend all this
overrun?
money?
Yeah, it
we-
sounds like an overrun, but it isn't really.
I know.
But we had, and we all talked about this, if people watched, and we've talked about it and beat it right to death before we did the job.
Yeah, we
Did we want to let the $95,000 go back, or did we want to kick in because we had it in the box culvert fund and do it? And you voted, you had two hands up when it came time.
Yeah, well, you guys had the wrong one.
He's got new glasses now.
I'm sure when you,
No, when we got it straightened out, you still had two hands up, so.
yeah. Stop.
Turnabout is fair play.
So, yeah. So anyhow, that's why you just, when you do these projects now, I guess,
And I can
you
understand
put in
this.
for the full,
Tell them what the second one's gonna cost on Mount Anthony.
yeah, that's another 200,000. That's another 200,000 one.
Because of the supposed ledge,
Well,
or
it's,
because you're
no,
gonna
no,
make it wider?
it's gonna be the same as the one we put in, the same size as the one we put in down below.
Yeah, but I thought, guys were complaining there was all ledge there. and
It is
everything
ledge.
else.
It was ledge where we put that one. They had to drill into it and they
Yeah,
poured.
but nowhere near
poured the
like,
footings.
like over there. Like up on that one by Shanice.
Yeah, that's all, yeah.
That's a pretty, ledge is up pretty high there. I mean,
But,
but I didn't know if maybe,
you know,
I don't know anything about this and I'm not trying to learn. But if a culvert, you know, I don't know why they have to be so deep. Why couldn't it just be wider?
well,
Still have the same square footage or whatever, you know what I mean? So
Because-
take the same cubic feet of water.
we were
underneath it.
16.6 basically wide on the bottom of that one. A&R originally wanted a 20-foot wide. It was like 20 feet, 6 inches, and the engineer talked to him and he said, you know, you're skirting on a bridge. You're getting so big with these culverts. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, well,
So he did let us go back down to 16.6, and I think the original one they priced out was 14 feet or something, the concrete, and they wouldn't go along with it. A&R wouldn't give us a permit for that. That's why we had to see another engineer and
well, see,
redo it.
At one time, we also had they were thinking of putting a bridge there on that upper one by Shanice,
Mm-hmm.
rather than,
Yeah, sure.
Do the
Go over
ledge.
it, yep, yep.
well, of course, the road would be closed longer and things like that. I'm sure that we're going to try to do, we got to do it right. First of all, the state's looking over your shoulders.
Yeah.
You can't cut any corners.
Yep.
But I was just, you know, and I think that, hey, if the people know what's going on, then they're not so critical. But when
Yeah.
they look at that
Yeah.
budget and they say, man, oh man,
Yep.
you know, that's a lot of money.
It is it is. It sure is. I mean, you know, we've seen it. You
Yeah.
buy a tube
And
for,
and that Snake Hill thing, that's going to be quite a thing. I mean, I don't know how much you put in for there, or what have you, but that's-
300.
Yeah, that's,
That was the max grant. Now, you have to understand the reasoning for that. The job probably is about 120 to 150, roughly, what the engineer estimated. When you put in for federal money, there's a lot more to it. Like, they like you to hire somebody to manage it. Somebody that can dedicate 40 hours a week to manage it. And that's $30,000 for, I think it was 10% for the BCRC to manage it. There's $30,000 on top of it.
Oh, yeah,
Engineering fees, there's another 30,000, because you get in the geotechnical stuff on that, and, you know, them guys are above the civil engineers, but anyhow, there's 60,000 just, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
I understand. I know if the federal government gets involved, the cost goes way up.
everything has to be bid out. There's a lot to it. Permits, and there's just a lot more to it. And that was a V-Trans alternative grant. But it is funded with some federal money, so, or all maybe. So, you know how that goes. It just makes a job, puts a lot of people to work.
Want to become an engineer?
At my age, no. I've done my engineering.
They frown, I guess, upon, you could manage your own, but they kind of frown against that because they really want somebody that's going to be dedicated to the project. There's quite a bit to it when you get into that.
Okay, so where are we?
So you've got, this is pretty much what you're thinking anyway, so, and
Well,
when we do the budget.
He's got some figures in here. We gotta put a few more in.
Yeah,
But here's the
But we got a
thing.
framework just to start working on.
Yeah.
well, we
And-
better start working on it pretty soon.
We're not
We'll be-
behind
The
schedule.
budget schedule,
We're not
No.
behind schedule.
No, that's why we've been pushing to get everybody to
We're
start
ahead of
looking.
schedule.
We're not behind
We're doing
schedule.
good,
we
actually.
ain't even had any numbers come out. This is the first one, this and the transfer station guy.
That's how
Come on, we
this
wrestled,
is all
wrestled
we
that stuff
always.
before.
It's
Right?
part of the
How we
plan.
We're
always did it.
fine, we're fine.
But there's
We're fine.
Oh, that's great, I'm glad we got a ton of money.
there's
Well, now
Not that we have a ton of money, we're just.
No, we
we're
don't, and-
Basically just putting out what the basic needs are and then,
but this is what we want to think about.
right. there's some
Because
things.
we don't have, you know, it was nice in that budget to add the extras and do the extra blacktopping and stuff.
Right, but we've spent all our extra
Spending
money.
all that
And-
extra money.
And we may not be able to, well, you guys spent all the extra money, I just helped you.
I just write the checks.
Because here's another thing we need to think about. As you guys know, we've been talking about buying the hillside off the top for gravel,
Yeah,
which we will,
yeah, we'll be
Talk
talking
about-
about that.
yeah.
When we got a full board and executive session, because that's a contract thing.
But, you know,
If we
we're,
enter into one.
say if we did get the V-Trans grant, you know, for Snake Hill and South Stream, I mean, you know, then we have a lot of layout too in our match.
That's right.
Say we also got the culvert on Mount Anthony we were just talking about. There's another big ding. You know, these are jobs big enough where you're gonna be hiring them out, so pretty much we're gonna have to pay.
It limits you to the other projects that we are able to do as a
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, as far as the match goes, we're in
Yeah,
for
we
it.
have substantial matches.
That's right. That's right.
What does it cost us to do a yard of gravel for ourselves? You,
$545
that's what it costs us to do our own gravel?
to do what we hired Basin. That's what it cost us
Okay,
with our own.
okay. So if we bought gravel somewhere else, we're gonna have that plus the cost of gravel.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're still under. I'll explain.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
I just get an idea in my mind.
Yeah, we can. You know, even the box culvert fund. We put the 94.5 back in, and we had 141. So we had. We have still 136 376.42 is about what I came up with. From what we put in to what in what we had in it. So we have 136.3 in that one. This is going off from the fund balance sheets from Ellen and what we just got back from the state.
Everybody has tonight the audited version of your fund balance. The last one that we had was unaudited. I was looking, I couldn't really see any change, but to just know that it's been audited.
This one here that we have is audited.
Yes, this is what you should be using, the one that says audited.
Oh. I was looking at the other one. Okay, do we have anything else?
And we should, maybe when you all do get together, we should talk about gravel purchase and see where we're gonna go.
Can we put
Which
that
way.
on next week's too?
We will continue where we are right now, because we want.
But this executive session, can we put that for next week on the gravel proposal? Okay.
Let me see, my other question was, are we planning on building anything further, or do we need anything in building fund, things like that?
No, I was thinking about that, pull back on the building funds this year. The only thing I did wanna do,
Your building fund right now, you have 20,000.
that was, yeah, see, that's somewhere you could rob some from, cause that's a fund, so that stays in there,
Yes.
building fund. Building maintenance, we have 12.5. This year's actually in the spring, what I'd like to do with some of that, we painted the buildings and, but if we don't, something bad don't happen, like a roof or something leak, I'd like to blacktop in front of the shop right there. It's an awful mess when we wash the trucks, we're tracking it in, the shop's filthy, you're constantly. So I'd like to blacktop a strip through there and then come back out around to meet the salt shed blacktop and just come back to the doors with it. And I will get a price on that. Actually, I may get a price on that after the first of the year, just because some guys are so busy, you don't want to wait, if you want to do it before the 1st of June, I'm saying, on that one. But look it over, I mean, if there's...
Better talk about the,
equipment rental.
equipment,
Yeah, that's another.
things to think about.
We're gonna have to probably ask Ellen how to do that maybe. The excavator, I think is $22,850 a year. As you know, we have the option to back out of it at the end of each year. If we keep it 10 years, we own it. It's a lease purchase with the opt to back out. That's why we went with it. So I was gonna put the 22,850 back in there to keep it going for another year. You guys are all right. Speak up.
Yeah.
I'm not like the Green Lantern guy,
You can't get him mad.
You already told me what you were doing.
But
You came in here all prepared. I didn't have my paperwork prepared.
He
But
caught you
anyhow,
off guard?
I think it's a good idea to,
We used it a lot this year, right?
we did, we
Yeah.
put, almost 600 hours on it in 6
Yeah.
months. Yeah, 100 hours a month on it. In going forward to this year's projects we have, that's what we have.
Well, what do you think, Ronnie? You think we ought to keep that thing?
He's going through his filing.
What's your
Okay.
feelings on the excavator?
Well, apparently we're using that, so I suppose we probably should continue to use it.
Yeah.
It does a lot more work, a lot quicker.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So that line, last year I put 20,000 in because I put it in just to rent it for 3-4 months. So if we're gonna do that, we gotta pull it up a little. So I actually went up to 26,000. So if we need to rent a roller, you know, I've been borrowing and making out pretty good, but, or if we need to, say I'd like to rent a hammer for that thing because, you know, like Hidden Valley Road needs to be ditched. So there's a lot of places around that we could use it, you know. So rent a hammer for a month or 2-3 weeks or week, whatever. We'll see how much it is. So anyhow, I went up 6,000 in that category.
So I guess what we need to do is talk to Ellen about how we're gonna show that as the liability if we plan on keeping this.
26.
And that's an accounting thing we'll work with. Anything else that we talked about earlier? We talked about blacktop, we talked about culverts, we talked about the equipment. We're not really building anything. We're gonna use some blacktop over there. Anything else you can think of that you need to take into consideration? You increased the equipment maintenance by $5,000.
I did. Parts are getting a little more expensive and we're a little over half used up according to the expenditure sheet. And, you know, you just hope you don't have a bad breakdown or something. And we did have, it cost us $3,200 to fix the grader. That wouldn't move. And, you know, you get a couple big dings like that and it really zaps it out of you.
The worker comp insurance for this year, its projection is, would be up by, it's going from 13,500 to 18,000. So there's an increase there. And the health insurance, we have an additional employee now at the highway department, and I'm recommending that we put 31,000 in there versus the 20. Get a little bit of a couple $100 decrease in the unemployment insurance. So Joel has 6, that'll be 400.
Just kind of thoughts, guys, you know, we're really gonna have to sit down and say, hey, how much are we gonna have this year?
Equipment
And
fund, what are we doing
when
there?
we get to
Yeah.
that stuff, you know.
And the
22,000
school
in the
budget's gonna go up
equipment fund?
9 cents, so you gotta remember that too. So we can lay all this stuff on the people at once.
The equipment fund,
Yeah,
Yeah, we saw that.
wait a minute, no, we need more equipment, so we gotta keep putting money in that.
We need more equipment.
Equipment fund.
Got more equipment than we got people operating. We got to put a mannequin in that.
We-
one of them machines.
It depends what you wanna do, because, we put in 75, we had from last year. And if we put another 75 in. I'm not sure, we talked about that too, where Ellen, see the equipment fund. Well, she's got 69,195 in the actual equipment fund here. But we have the last payment on the backhoe this year, which is $14,600, which will be paid in February. In the tandem, 5-year truck loan, I don't know what, she didn't really put the payments down on that. But the final payment on that one is 2021. So I'm guessing that's around 40, a little over 40,000, right, a year for 5 years?
I have to check on you. I don't wanna say something that's incorrect.
That'd be 200,000. We spent a little more than 200,000, but we had some money to throw in to start with, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the truck was 100 and, well, yeah, it was just a little over 200 because
Yeah.
we went with a plow, 208
yeah, it was over 200.
because we went with a plow. Yep.
But we had some money.
Here,
which-
I'll make a
We
little
did.
note to fine tune
and
the payments, just so we can go over them one more time, what we got out there for making payments on.
But my guess is they are around that.
yeah, we gotta rattle these numbers around a little bit.
Right.
But, and you know, you talk about that, Jason's gonna bring up the capital plan, that truck one, that 2008 is really, well, it's got a little bit of value to it. It's one we put a lot of money in. And it still really isn't right. Whoops.
That's all right.
But, at some point, we ought to think about rolling that along.
You know, in order to do the capital project fund for the road department, we have to actually run a ballot article and then put an amount in it.
Now, that was, the capital fund was something
I don't think that'll
Nelson,
fly. I don't think that'll fly.
that was something Nelson wanted to put
There's
together.
still a half a dozen conservatives in Pownal besides me. I don't think that'll fly
Well,
on a ballot article.
it wasn't for equipment. What it was for mainly was when we do these projects, so we could put our
So we get our
reimbursement. Yeah,
For when we do these large projects, there's a substantial amount of money that you have to come up with for these matches.
That's right. I
That
understand
need
that.
to
We should
come
have
out
some
of-
money set aside for that.
And
Well, let's
that's
just-
where you put it.
that's what we're talking about. That's the capital fund.
Yeah, that's the capital fund.
Well,
Capital
that's-
fund, as far as I was concerned, I always thought that was an emergency fund, capital fund, you know?
Well,
It can be
you-
used at sometimes we have to use it
Yeah,
in
well,
the
that's it.
general,
It's-
in
I
the
don't-
general
I don't want it to
budget.
be a slush fund. I want it to be, that's
Well, you-
what I'm talking about.
I
When you look at this
understand.
stuff, it's too bad the Grand Poo Pie in here, I could argue with him.
Yeah.
But this is, some
Which-
people, they think about bonds and, they'd like to make a brand new town out of this thing next week, which we can if we want to indebt ourselves for 30
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
if that's what
Well,
we want
that's,
to do.
this is our,
Right.
that's what the object is
And
with
that's why I don't
doing-
mind these funds.
doing some of
Because you're
this.
supposed to use these funds only for what they're designed for. Was my thought.
Yeah, but you can do a capital fund or like,
I know we're
like
gonna
the
need money if we
equipment,
get grants.
we got a
If we get
capital,
some
yeah.
grants, and that's why these projects, you're gonna have to shuffle it. We're gonna have to shuffle this as a town.
Yeah, we are.
Because
Right.
you,
We
you,
can't do
you
'em all.
you
I
can
agree
propose
with-
all this
no,
stuff,
no, I
these
know.
pie in the sky ideas, but, say you get a grant for South Stream
I
Road.
said, I know.
That pile of money, we gotta match up, or you get a grant for Snake Hill or
Well,
whatever.
suppose you
We
get-
gotta dump some money in there, so something is gonna suffer a little bit,
Because
or
I
set
put-
back.
I put, you put a lot of grants in hoping to get a
Certainly.
couple of them.
Yeah.
But if you did, you know,
If you do, then we realize
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
got to have some money in reserve. I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm.
I got
That's
no problem with that.
that was kind of what he talked about with a capital fund
Mm-hmm.
for something like that. You call it a slush fund, but
Well, I know what happened to the other capital fund. I mean, that disappeared. You know, it just went for, you know, like they kept crying at budget time, there was no money. But then this property up here came up for sale, and the ex-treasurer says, oh, we got money, don't worry about the money. And then we were cutting the budget and trying to do all this other stuff. So, and like I said, I don't mind. It's the same thing like with, you know, you talked about a truck. All right, and I like to put a little money away.
Yeah.
Each time.
Yeah.
You know, every year for something. Because you know, you take that off that price. Even we had a little money in there took it off that tandem. If we had
Yeah.
to take the whole
Yeah.
thing, it'd be a lot more money.
oh sure,
And we
sure.
are getting, you know, tobacco will be paid for. Well, we'll have
Yeah.
that money to be put
Right.
into a fund of some sort.
But I
That's gonna
say,
pay for the excavator.
Well, that's it. Well, that's right.
yeah.
If it does,
Well,
fine.
that'll be yeah.
You know,
will.
well, like I say, we got to shuffle this stuff, and we got to figure out, you know, the best possible scenario, so that you can't. I know that people are gullible. Whatever the budget is, they vote yes, yes, yes. But I think with that school thing going up 9 cents, I think there's going to be some no votes here and there, because people they just can't afford it.
Oh, sure they can.
And I mean, we got
But-
to be, and I know we need to do
but-
this work, Joel.
but-
I'm behind you 100%. I know
No,
we need
I-
to do the project.
You asked me to put together, you
No,
know,
that's fine,
projects.
and that's
If I
great.
came to you with one project, you'd say,
that's
what the hell's
fine
he
that
been
we know
doing?
these numbers, but we're going to have to take. And we're
But
also
we
gotta
are going to
think-
have to sit down. That's
When
my
we sit
point.
down, we're going to say, well, look, if you do you put in for, you know, I don't know how many grants, but if you get a couple of them, even one,
Yeah,
it's going
I
to
know,
take quite a bit of
I
match
know.
money. And we got to figure out, well, hey, we got to have at least this much hanging back.
Set aside, that's right.
Exactly.
Okay,
That's
that's
right.
all I got to say.
Well,
You
we
wanted
just
me to
wanted
speak
you to
up. I'll
understand
get after you
that.
like the
Because-
solar guy.
Because like I say, it'd be, if you did get that one down there, you're looking at 60,000.
That's
It's
right.
quite a chunk to take
That's
out
real money.
in one, yeah.
And I also agree 100% that everything you spoke about needs to be done.
Sure.
I realize
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
Yeah.
every bit of it. You know, culverts, blacktop in here and there and everything. I understand all that, but we got to figure out and lay enough money aside so if we do have to use matching money,
Yeah.
then we can do
Yeah.
whatever we number these projects up. I mean, I agree with Jason. We ought to finish something.
Yeah.
I'd like to, but if we ain't got the money, we can't. We may have to stop halfway or whatever.
But it's impossible today.
Oh yeah, everything is high, and you've got to go through all the rigmaroles. I understand you're going to have, engineering and A&R and all these other things. All this stuff has to be paid for.
It's a tough job. We're
And
trying
some
to
of these
keep our
jobs,
taxes down too.
there's no way that us as our group can handle it. You got to get
No,
guys
I
with
know,
bigger
I
stuff
know.
and,
Well, I agree
and
with
things
that.
like that. And then sometimes you don't know where them costs are going. People say, well, how much is it going to cost to dig that up? You don't know what's down there.
I know.
You start digging down there and it's good hard rock, it's going to cost a lot of money to dig it up. Anyway,
You feel better now?
yeah, I'm
Good.
finished.
Well, no, I agree with you, but
Good.
like
I
I
agree
said,
with you too.
I have to bring this to you
That's right.
because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
going to wonder what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Which
We
is
asked
fine.
you to bring it to us.
That's
We're not
right.
complaining.
I'm
We're just
happy with that.
Or I'll just
And I
bring it.
realize that we need to have, and I think they've done a good job trying to, you've got a lot of things done, and I don't think it's been over costly. I think you've done a good job. Because things
You have
have
done a good job.
improved quite a bit. I think the crew's doing a good job.
They are doing
I
a good.
think
The crew is
everybody
doing a good job.
everybody's working, and you see some accomplishments around, and I think they all realize too that there's a limited amount of money.
Yeah,
Period.
they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, we all do.
Hey, Chuck walked off with some of my budget stuff. Catch up with him.
I didn't even get after him.
No, you didn't.
You just woke up.
If we,
That's probably enough as far as we can go on this particular budget this evening. We've given you, the board quite a bit to anticipated needs. We'll
Yeah,
put it that way.
we can
and,
look at this, because we got it, and, I mean,
for my purposes and Ellen, we're gonna concentrate on the things that are the necessities in this budget. And the other things like your projects, that will fine tune with the full board.
yeah, the necessities, you got it, we got a
Right,
plan for
there are
them.
certain things here that there are necessities in the budget that just can't be changed.
That's right.
and we do need to know where we stand.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Some of the things look through, I don't know if you guys look through the expenditure reports, and you kind of should, we got a half year coming up. It's kind of, what I went by. We're coming up on 6 months. Here, another couple weeks. Wait, another week or so.
Okay, so Linda, should we table the legal and the contracts for next week's meeting?
I would table the legal because I still don't have all my information. I had a brief discussion with you earlier that had been looking into some options and,
And then we'll have a full board and we can discuss it.
yes.
And then the contracts we'll table for next week too. We're gonna have a full agenda.
We need to kind of, from here forward, get these agenda items down to a more manageable so that we can concentrate on what we need to do within our time frame. So we can't have a lot of added things on the
I
agenda.
think we got a pretty full agenda already for next week.
Exactly, so, but after that, it's gotta stop.
We'll just take a look at it and think about it,
That was, let me see, so next week, Ellen and I will only have like a couple of days at best to even work on any budget items because we have
Of the holidays.
Christmas, we have holiday, and then I'll have my normal payroll and my normal things that I have to do, plus this is the end of the month for sewer collection and stuff, so my time is, we'll have a lot for next week, so I don't want the board to expect a lot for next week.
Okay, do we have anything else?
I don't know where, I can't even find my agenda. Looking for it, I'm like, oh my God, where are we?
Agenda.
We have a draft of the town administrator ad that we just have to go through and decide what's full or part-time and what we want to put in the ad and when to run it. And we've had that job description for a while, so we should be able to cut through that. And then the large gathering ordinance, we're pretty close to the end of that too, aren't we?
And wait for the.
It's under
sheriff.
review.
We're waiting for a review on,
We're waiting to see what the sheriff's department has to say about it.
that's right.
You did ask us for our input on that, the administrator thing.
But it's kind of hard for you guys to give input until you see what the...
We haven't seen it,
Yeah, you
that was the
don't-
whole thing.
Because
Oh,
we don't
okay,
have a job
okay.
description yet. We're still figuring out the job description, and that's what I have been trying to get to, and we keep getting postponed. But I'd like to get us to at least get a job description.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And decide
I just
full or
wondered, I thought
part-time.
you had one together, actually.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Any other questions for the road department?
Okay, so we're definitely gonna go back, revisit road.
Go take a nap, and you're gonna have to go out early in the morning.
In the morning, I know. Probably be out.
This is
Supposed to
gotta go
turn to
on
rain at some
12:28.
point, but
Yeah.
maybe not now.
Tomorrow afternoon, I thought it was a turn of rain.
And then Christmas, you're gonna have another storm?
Yeah, Christmas Day.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
If you're okay, Linda?
I'm fine.
If there's no other business before the board, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a
So
motion.
moved.
we adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was, man, oh man.